trip per unit. So that if you get the other housing in there, you can do it. But basically, my point is the issue of traffic for
Call to order the Ventura County Air Pollution Control Board for December 13th. Roll call, please.
Board Member Bennett? Board Member Foy? Yes. Board Member Long? Here. Board Member Morgan?
Here.
Board Member Parks? Here. Board Member Pollock?
Here.
Board Member Ramirez? Board Member Sharkey? Board Member Tucker?
Present.
And Board Member Zaragoza.
Here. Thank you, and let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Kathy, for your last.
Thank you. Hand over your heart. Ready to begin, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And our next item on the agenda is the minutes of the meeting of the APCD, Tuesday, November 8th.
Move the approval of the minutes.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
One abstention.
One abstention. Mr. Tucker?
And Mr. Foy.
And Foy. And that's approved. Agenda review. Is there consider the approval by majority vote? Is there any revisions to the agenda of any kind? Seeing none, we'll go to the next item. Public comments. So we have Rosa. Do we have any public comments? Nothing there. Board comments. Any board members? No. Okay, that's pretty fast. Our next item is regular agenda. This is item number 8. Is a public hearing regarding adoption of the proposed rule 7434. Mr. Villegas.
Chair Zaragoza, members of the board, Mike Villegas, Air Pollution Control Officer. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
In the interest of time, because it looks like the Board of Supervisors have quite a hearing going on, we're gonna basically skip the staff presentation on this item. I'm gonna just give you the high points.
Thank you.
Putting things in perspective, this is one of the last rules we're going to have with significant reductions of nitrogen oxides. And the Air Quality Management Plan we'll be bringing to your board next year to attain the federal ozone standard of 75 parts per billion contains a commitment to reduce 80 tons per year of nitrogen oxides from stationary sources. This rule will achieve 40 tons per year towards that goal. So it's not insignificant. The second thing is we work very closely with the regulated community on developing this proposal because it deals with a lot of equipment that's kind of unique. And we believe we have before you a rule that is technically feasible and cost effective, and it will improve air quality. And just to reassure you, we're dealing with some very interesting equipment up at Trinity, which used to be Pacific Custom Materials. They have some rotary kilns, and we set what we both believe is a reasonable limit, but time will tell, and if it isn't achievable, we'll be coming back with an amendment, but we're going to work with the regulated community. That's all I have. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mike. Any questions, Mike?
I just want to say thanks to Mike for working with one of the people in my district that they've worked out some issues that would have been really problematic, but they were able to make it work, and so I just want to thank them.
Fantastic. This is a public hearing, and is there anybody in the room that'd like to share anything with us? I don't have any cards at all, so I'm going to close the public hearing. So what is the pleasure of the board?
Move the approval of the
A second.
A second, got a first and a second. All in favor? Or do we have roll call? Or do I have to? Let's do roll call then.
No. Okay.
Go ahead.
Board Member Foy?
Yes.
Board Member Long?
Yes.
Board Member Morgan?
Yes.
Board Member Parks?
Yes.
Board Member Pollock?
Yes.
And Board Member Zaragoza.
Yes, that's approved.
Forgot one.
Oh,
And-
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Tucker.
It's a yes.
Okay, so we got approval. Our next item is item 9 is approval of the authorization to establish new voluntary Accelerated Vehicle Retirement Program.
Yes, we're going to actually give you a staff report on this one because this is something new for our district. And I just want to point out one thing real important before I turn it over to Stan Cowan is when you look at our incentive funds, the vast majority, well over 90%, are targeted towards heavy-duty diesel. And the reason for that is when you compare heavy-duty diesel projects compared to light-duty vehicle projects, the heavy-duty diesels are just vastly more cost-effective, meaning we get more emission reductions per dollar spent. The exception to that general case is programs that pull older vehicles, 1995 and older, off the road. And the program before you actually would meet the Carl Moyer cost effectiveness guidelines. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Stan Cowan.
Chair Zaragoza, members of the board, Stan Cowan, Air Quality Engineer. This is a new incentive program. It's a cost-effective, as Mike has said. It's voluntary, so nobody's required to do it. It's basically $1,000 for a 1995 or older light-duty vehicle, including small trucks and cars. This program has been accomplished for several years in other air districts, so there's a lot of experience behind it. Such air districts as the South Coast, Bay Area, Mojave, Santa Barbara, San Luis Obispo, and Antelope Valley. The program budgets range from $100,000 to $7 million in the Bay Area. Our program, we're proposing a budget of $127,500 to retire 100 vehicles, and we are looking to have a outside contractor administer the program. And other districts are using outside contractors. It's very efficient. They know the guidelines backwards and forwards. They train the auto dismantlers. There is a fee that we charge. See, they're entitled to $175 per vehicle that they sell, the $1,000, and $50 goes to the dismantler to junk the car. The cost effectiveness, as Mike said, it's under the Carl Moyer guidelines. It's at $17,400, and the program funds are from the APC fund balance that is designated for motor vehicle emission reductions. And we'll do program outreach and on our district website, and we will have a direct mailer using DMV information directly to the owners of these vehicles to make sure the program is a success. And I'd be happy to answer any question.
Those vehicles are 1995 or older.
Older, right.
Older, and
Yeah.
you're going to convey that information to the DMV and also through the website.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And you probably get quite a few.
I would think so.
Well, let me just ask that question, because I
Yes,
just pulled up on the website trying to look at different cars. So what are we really going to get for $1,000? I mean, who's going to, my only concern is, are we
Yeah.
really going to take cars off the road?
Nope.
Or are you going to take a car that's just sitting in somebody's lawn?
No, these are operating cars.
How do we know they're operating? Do they have to be
They have
registered for the
they
last
have-
3 years?
Yeah,
They
have to be
have
registered for 3 years, right.
That's a good
There's
point, yeah.
There's a whole laundry list, if you saw the RFP, which was attached to the board letter.
Yeah.
It has a laundry list of qualifications. They have to be able to drive to the yard for junking. They
Because I was just
actually,
looking at some of these 92, 90, I put 85, 95, and listed some of those cars. You know, there's 1,700, 3,500, 20, I mean, that's one of the things, I'm just curious. I mean, have they gotten a lot off, or what have they really gotten? Somebody was gonna, all of a sudden my car is semi-totaled, it's got bad doors, I bring it over so I get an extra 1,000 I wasn't gonna get? I'm just really sure what are we gonna accomplish?
well, we're taking these older vehicles that pollute more.
Well, I understand that,
Oh,
but I
okay.
understand. It's just when we give money away like this, people want to take advantage of the situation, and I'm just curious about where we're really going to get it. I mean, it's great if we can get the pollutants off, but it's guaranteed that this is somebody's driving a car every day to work, and, you know, it's there. You know, I still struggle on the other side, because when you get, you know, cheaper cars off the road, then the poor have to pay more for the higher cars. And
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a tough deal on the other side of this, too.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Yeah.
So Stan, they pay cash right on the spot? You have to turn in the pink slip and
Yeah, they pay them, they give them a check right on the spot.
check right on the spot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does this include SUVs? Curiosity.
A light.
It's a light, you consider that as a light
Yes,
duty
yeah,
vehicle?
SUVs are, yes.
SUVs. Okay, any additional questions of Stan? What's the pleasure of the board? Okay, we're going to second, I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Stan.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 10, we have a public hearing here regarding adoption of the amendment to the 2013-16 MOA for the SEIU employees.
Yes, as the Board of Supervisors members are quite aware, the IRS made a determination that the proceeds from annual leave buy-downs, well, basically just by virtue of the fact that you have the ability to sell or buy down annual leave, creates a tax implication for employees. And to resolve this, Auditor Controller, Human Resources, and County Council have come up with a procedure by which the employees would make an irrevocable election by the end of the year, in this case 2016, and that election would allow them either to sell annual leave at some level or not, or choose not to sell annual leave. If they choose not to sell annual leave and there was a financial hardship, there are provisions included that would allow them to proceed with that, subject to buyoff from Human Resources and the Auditor Controller.
And to the city members, that was approved by the Board of Supervisors, this morning, so. Any questions of Michael? What's the pleasure of the board?
Move approval.
We got first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Thank you. Item 11 is the approval of salary increases and increases in flexible spending accounts and management, confidential, clerical, and other represented employees covered by the Air Pollution Control District.
This item would pertain to the APCD management and our clerical confidential classifications. It is a portion of the package that was approved by the Board of Supervisors for the county managers. It includes two 1.5% general salary increases and two increases to the flexible benefit programs of $50 per year starting January next, basically in effect for the next two plan years for the healthcare plans. It does not
$50 per
include
pay
the...
period.
Okay.
Per pay period, $50
Pay
per
period,
$50,
yeah.
It does not include the MBA adjustments that were included with the county package. That study has been completed and would be coming to your board very soon.
Okay. Michael, before we continue, item 10, that was a public hearing, and I didn't open or close the public hearing. Can I do it now, Madam Clerk? On item 10, I know we approved it already. I didn't have any, it was a public hearing.
Was that a public hearing?
Item number 10.
Oh, you have to close it.
I think it's too late.
Too late? Okay.
I don't think anyone was here.
And nobody was here anyway,
You had no speakers.
Okay, all righty. So what's the pleasure of this item 11 from the board? Any questions?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
second it.
We got first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Item 12 is adoption and amendment of Ventura County Air Pollution Control District Management, confidential clerical, and other unrepresented employees resolution advising the annual leave redemption.
Yes, this is identical to the SEIU provisions, but for the management staff, where SEIU are capped at 80 hours per year that could be redeemed annual leave. In management, it ranges from 100 to 200 hours,
200
per
hours.
year. But it has the same hardship provisions as the SEIU agreement.
Okay, any questions? Got a first and a
Second.
second, all in favor? Any opposed? That's approved. Item 13, receive and file the Ventura County Air Pollution Control District unaudited fiscal year 2015-16 year-end financial status report.
Yes, our unaudited financial status report for the year ending June 30th of this year showed a net cost or loss of nearly $4.9 million. However, you have to remember that we did purchase a building for nearly $5.5 million and we paid cash. Excluding the building purchase, which is now an asset of the district, we are reporting a net savings of just over $581,000 for the year. When you look at the actual to budgeted on the expenditure side, we had savings in both services and supplies and salaries and benefits. On the salary side, it's mostly to delays in filling vacant positions. For example, I always look to make a little savings every time there's an opportunity. We had a public information manager retire, and in the past she did have staff. We're going to be bringing that to a public information officer that would not be supervising staff. And right now, just because we're working with HR redoing that classification, we're having salary savings because the position's vacant.
And Michael, on the purchase of the property, we're going to save quite a bit of money in the long run, right?
What was it?
The purchase of the new property, we're going to save quite a bit of money and lease
Yeah,
money.
yes, once we're in the new building, conservative, I'd say we'd save at least $200,000 to $300,000 per year, especially when you consider the fact that we have a long-term tenant downstairs in that building.
Yeah, and I think that's important for us to remember that. Yeah, thank you.
If I may, the other thing that I'd also point out is that there's still a fund balance. You still have an
Yeah.
$8 million
That's right.
balance. And so I know that Mike and staff have been working really hard to save money for this purchase. And so, I commend you for your forward thinking.
Thank you. And
That's
we
right.
need to be careful because I don't know what's going to happen to that EPA grant. And lastly, we also have the unaudited financial status report for the pass-through grants, and there is never a net cost or a net
That's right.
savings because revenue and expenditures are always balanced. And that's in essence Carl Moyer program, low emission school bus program, et cetera. That's all I have.
Thank you, Michael. Any additional questions on Mike? What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval.
Got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Michael. The 14 is receive and file the minutes of the South Coast Central Coast Basin Air Pollution Control Council meeting for July 20th, 2016. Morgan?
I want him to sum this one. This was a little confusing. We had some differences, but we got new people. Mike, you want to go ahead with it?
Yeah, I'll let you know what we talked about from Ventura County. I gave an update on the Grove incident and let them know that we did some grab samples, and I think that was very reassuring to the neighbors. We're working on a procedure so that we're ready, including just about any inspector or field technician to go out, who's available at the time, to go out and take those samples. Because it just seems that, this was the third oil incident. Well, this was one of 3 that occurred last year where we actually had to run out and take air samples, so. And we also gave an update on the power plant permitting, and I just let them know that there's substantial opposition, but it's, when you look at a gas turbine, we found that it would comply with our rules. South Coast has made the same findings at Long Beach and Huntington Beach just the past month with gas turbine power plants, and that's an extreme non-attainment area. And basically, when you look at gas turbines, if you can permit them in an extreme non-attainment area, you certainly can't permit them in a serious non-attainment area. So, and we have exactly the same limits for best available control technology as South Coast. So,
Okay.
Not through yet.
Michael?
He's not through yet. We're talking about the how they did up there in that area where they are. Catch us up on the beach.
on the San Luis Obispo, they kind of this bad land use planning tends to be the root of a lot of problems. They built homes on the Pomo Mesa, just downwind of the Pismo Beach riding areas. And what happens is when the wind blows, and sometimes if you don't have that many vehicles, the wind, let's face it, the wind howls up there. That's what it's known for. And the homeowners are making extensive complaints about the dust, so they're working with state parks, and now they're in litigation with state parks, the Air District, and a group of off-road vehicle enthusiasts.
It's nothing more that was happening before they moved there. If you go up and look at the land that they're farming, who knows, they may someday let them build on that too, but it's sand. And it's natural blown from those bluffs out into that area.
This is that is true. It's just a windy area. Santa Barbara APCD, for example, has a lot of dust complaints with the carrot farms near Orchid and Santa Maria also. So as soon as those fields go fallow, the dust is. Santa Maria, when you look, my parents bought a house and all the little trees in the parkways were.
They're slanted. Okay, well, thank you, Michael. Morgan?
I just want to make sure he got it all correct when we.
Need a motion for that? To receive and file?
Second.
Okay.
One thing
We don't have-
is we're going to have a lot of new members, or a couple, 3 new members. One will be Larry from up north,
Yes.
San Luis Obispo. His same person up in San Luis Obispo is the one that's been fighting this this losing battle. on that sand and things, and you keep wondering why. You're costing money. But anyway, he's gone, and then there's a couple of people on the board that represent the county, one on counties. She's leaving, right?
Yeah, I believe Janet Wolf from Santa Barbara is, I don't know if she's going to
Supervisor.
be the Basin White Control Council rep from their
Right.
district again.
Anyway, there's a few changes.
Okay. Do we need a vote on that, Rosa?
Just to receive and file.
Good,
We
first-
did, motion
First,
second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
That's, and oppose? Okay, that's approved. Okay, our next item is the receive and file report regarding the Air Pollution Control District application for Section 105 grant from the U.S. EPA.
Real quick, it's just our application, same level of funding, and we'll just have to wait and see how the new administration funds the state air agencies, so.
In the past, we've received how many dollars, Mike? About
Just under 1.1 million
1.1 million?
in the Section 105 grant, which is for our general operations to implement the Federal Clean Air
So
Act.
that's in jeopardy right now, maybe,
Well,
potentially?
we'll see. You know, in the past, conservative administrations have been very pro-state rights, and the funding for the states has been kept up.
Okay, any additional questions? We need a motion? A motion, a second? All in favor?
I'm letting Jeff over here.
Any opposed? Okay. Our next item is receive and file a status report regarding the Ventura County Air Pollution Control District application for state subvention funds.
Just once again, that's an information we're applying again for our annual $200,000 funding via the state for implementing the California Clean Air Act. And when you look at the mandates under the California Clean Air Act, 200,000 is a pittance, certainly, but it's better than nothing, so,
So we're looking at some kind of dollars.
yes.
Okay, any, a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Now we have the most important part here. 17, this is a presentation of the Board Service Award to Doug Tucker.
Yes, I placed these items on the board to give your board an opportunity to recognize your fellow board members for their service here, because we know you're not serving with any compensation, and we appreciate the service. On behalf of staff, I'd just like to say that Doug Tucker proved to be a very quick study. Took a keen interest in air programs, and it was a pleasure working with him, and we have a plaque for him also.
All righty. And thank you, Doug, for your work, and also thank you for, you were the mayor of Fillmore. Yeah. Thank you. Mhm. Okay.
Please come out there.
Thanks, Doug, for everything.
You know, for myself, you know, I never thought in a million years I'd ever serve on city council, let alone a board like this. I have to say, over the last 4 years, getting to know Mike and the staff at the Air Pollution Quality Control Board has been a true pleasure. And working with each and every one of you shows that the professionalism, the compassion, and the care for Ventura County is in good hands with the people that sit up on this dais. I've learned tremendously from you, and I will always be grateful for the opportunity to have served with you.
Thank you, and Mr. Tucker was also vice chair of the board, too, so we're going to miss you. Thank you for your service. Any other comments? Okay. And our next item is the presentation of the board for the service award to Kathy Long.
I think the fact that this is a 20-year service award says quite a bit all by itself. I first met Kathy Long when she was an aide to Supervisor Kildee. I was a rule engineer working on our new source review rule, which is a very complex rule, and probably the most complex in the air business. Matter of fact, our legal counsel at the time referred to it as the Alice in Wonderland program. Due to the complexity, Dick Baldwin and I were meeting with the board aides before bringing it to the board, and I could tell that not only had Kathy read this 30-page rule, but she understood it by the questions she asked. And I made a mental note right then, this is a very sharp individual. It's been a real pleasure working with Kathy, and I know staff, we have always appreciated her pragmatic approach to the issues.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you so very much. It has been a pleasure to serve as all of you who serve. You know, all these topics, you learn so much, and certainly I have over the years. And to have great leadership at the management level, administration level of this organization has really made a difference in this county, that we don't have the wars that they do down in the South Coast between the public and the administration. Because we have supported, the commission has, and the leadership to engage our public ahead of time on the rulemaking and have workshops and do all of that. And that model served us well. And we are fortunate, this county, we have great air quality standards, and we're succeeding at reaching them higher and higher. So thank you all. Pleasure to serve with you. Thank you.
And also, I'd like to share with you that I've had the pleasure working with Kathy for about 8 years, and I mentioned that in the board this morning, and it just, we're going to miss you, Kathy. And how many commissions and committees did you belong to?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. Sue mentioned this morning she traveled some 38,000 miles, and how many millions of other, it's unbelievable, but thank you anyway for your service. We appreciate it tremendously.
Thank you. Pleasure.
And if we have no other comments, then we're adjourned until January 10th of next year? Jan 10,
I wish
2017.
everyone a happy holiday.
Happy holidays to all. Thank you.
All right. Well, good.
Now, the question is who can take it?